you also want to make sure that, especially if you're speaking up for somebody or speaking out, that are you doing it in a way that is welcomed by that person, like say a coworker? And if you're on the receiving end, like I've been in situations in the workplace where, I've said something and other people's comments have been acknowledged and mine just falls flat and nothing happens. And then 2 minutes later, somebody else says the exact same thing I said. And I've had a colleague who said, hey, I actually want to, mention what Michaela said 2 minutes ago, blah, blah, blah. And I agree with that. And I contacted her later. And I said, thank you. I don't know whether you realize what you did, but you served as an ally for me. And I felt so seen and heard. So in that end, I received a reward. So anyway, I'd like to pass this on to Brad and any comments you have.
Yeah, that's really terrific. And thank you for sharing that story. I think that illustrates an excellent example of allyship and how it can really play out in the real world. Just adding to the discussion about reward, I think that was a great question. You kind of have to think about two different kinds of motivations, and this touches on that neuroimaging research, Michaela, that you mentioned earlier, where we're seeing this conflict in the brain. It depends really what your motivations are. If you are internally motivated to respond without racial prejudice, to act as an ally, doing so is a reward in and of itself. And I think that's kind of what you were alluding to in your example. Um, Alternatively, if your focus is really just on not being canceled, worrying about that, that's kind of a self-focused motivation. It's good. Like you don't want to respond in a racist fashion, but really like you want to try to get to that internal motivation at the end of the day. So having a company culture that really promotes and values this in character development, whether it's self-education, intergroup contact, these sorts of things, can really help to make being an ally a reward in and of itself.